Hell yeah.
All right. So, we are returning to Millik. You'll notice I uploaded your updated character sheets. They should reflect the current amount of improvement points you have, any damage your armor might have taken in the past couple of conflicts, the meager amount of coins you've either earned or spent. Those changes are noted on your character sheets. So it is on Discord. So you can, if you go to Meredith character sheet, you'll find it. So those are there for you. The other kind of quality, I've been trying to listen to GMing podcasts and look up advice. So I'm trying to learn every time. So hopefully these sessions get more and more enjoyable. One thing I spent a lot of time on this week is completely overhauling my combat spreadsheet to hopefully make combat a little less cumbersome and a little bit more enjoyable for all involved. Because there are a lot of rules, but it makes it kind of deep. So rather than just saying I want to swing my sword, you can pick where you want to hit and etc. So that's the benefit of this combat system. The drawback is there's a lot of extra stuff. So I tried to overhaul it so hopefully it goes a little faster. I'm going to try to be a little bit more descriptive about your surroundings so you guys have a better chance of role playing and interacting with your environment. I continue to encourage you guys to role play with each other's characters, and at the end of the Monster of Millik, we'll kind of recap how you guys knew each other to begin with. You know, that prologue that I went through, we'll recap that and what you guys have done with each other thus far. So hopefully you guys will have increased amount of character interactions and it'll be easier for you to role play with each other. So there's that.
Question.
Yeah.
So this pre-game / tutorial has been going on for over a month now. Do you see us actually finish?
Yeah, you guys will probably. Well, I mean, you guys have taken a vastly different direction with this than I thought you would, and it wasn't really supposed to be, that short of a prologue. I mean, we're all exploring the world. It's my first time as a GM, so I needed time to figure out what the hell I was doing. So I built this to last at least a couple sessions, but no, I did not anticipating it taking this long. And yes, you guys. I mean, this is this will reflect what you guys do in this prologue will reflect on what happens afterwards, but this is really just kind of to be self-contained as possible so we could all learn together how to operate in this world and so I can figure out how to be a GM. So that was the point of this. But this is not inconsequential. The things you have done and will do in this prologue will reflect on what happens as long as we continue to play.
That leg will come back to haunt you.
Woo!
It's in the general text channel. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry, I didn't specify that in the general. Okay. All right. So I did not type up campaign notes because I just didn't have time. But to recap what happened last week, you guys departed the Mage's house where he was breeding monsters. On the road to Lodz, on the way to the road to Lodz, you met a character named Dindrik, kind of a traveling vagrant fellow who had a number of Witcher oils in his pouch. Dindrik, who you guys all seem to distrust for whatever reason. I try to make him friendly. From his pouch, he bequeathed...
Shady.
that might just be projection, but you guys will just have to figure that out. From his pouch, he bequeathed upon you relic oil and agroid oil as per Christopher's request. You guys learned, or Christopher deduced, based off of all the information you have thus far, that the monster that might be responsible for these attacks may be a Berberoka. It's a monster that's a river-dwelling monster that's afraid of crustaceans and specifically lapistrays, of which you found, fought, and conquered. So congratulations, you killed one of the monsters of Millik down there in the river. In a rather unorthodox fashion, Michael chopped it to bits and lashed it to his armor, and Saralyn fixed up the ferry. You guys took it across the river, leaving Minka, Zoe, and Dindrik behind, and devised a plan to basically walk in a straight line through the woods 4 of you, without rigs, to scare the monster towards the river, so you guys could then ambush it and kill it. So
I will say, just to interrupt you real quick, Minka did a big eye roll again in the fact that we were left behind. So keep going.
So the four of you, it was Phyrra, Jesse. So I keep interchanging character names. It was Phyrra, Beetlejuice, Adelina, and Iroh. In that order, from west to east, walked through the woods. Adelina noticed something in a wooded clearing. She managed to gather everyone for an ambush, but upon ambushing the creature in the clearing, they found it was just the dead deer, most likely the one they had heard being slaughtered earlier. And as they puzzled this out, they heard a scream coming from somewhere in the west. So that's where you guys are right now. If you would be so kind to look at the map of Millik that I posted in the chat. It's in the pinned messages. Now the map was drawn on Microsoft or Microsoft Paint, so it's not the best depiction of what's going on here, but it gives you a rough idea of where things are. As I mentioned last week, the woods run right up to the road to Lot. So where there's a clearing in my crudely drawn map, the woods go right up to that road. So you guys right now are probably, I'm going to say that the 4 of you that are in the woods are probably level with house 3. You're on the same parallel. Christopher, you are standing where that arrow is pointing to the red. That's the ferry crossing. So you're on the east hand side of this river on the ferry crossing. The others are about a 20 to 25 minute walk, or maybe like a 10 15-minute run through the woods to you. And
this sounds pretty good.
And then Minka and Zoe are immediately on the other side of the river. So all of you guys hear this scream coming from somewhere approximately where the village is. And remember that you guys can't communicate with each other. Your characters can't communicate with each other if you're not within, hearing distance. So that's where you guys are geographically. You hear a scream and play it out.
Everybody hear a scream or just us?
Everyone hears the scream.
Got it, sorry.
Let's go.
Christopher has heightened hearing, so technically he hears it the loudest, but
I'll kind of curse and yell, get back to the village.
Yeah, I'm gonna start running towards the sound of the screaming.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm gonna go towards the screaming as well.
10-minute run. So if he shouted really loud, they'll probably hear the echo very faintly. You guys could all hear the scream. So presumably, if you're shouting or screaming, you can faintly hear each other as well.
Yeah, I'm just running towards the scream, I guess.
I'm bolting towards that scream.
Everybody run!
So Zoe and Minka, for you guys, it came from approximately the village. So you guys it sounded like it's coming from the north of you.
Okay.
For Riggs, it's northwest, and then for the rest of you, it's just straight west.
Okay.
And so remember, the rest of you guys are on the other side of the river.
Yeah, I was going to say, which side of the river is the scream coming from?
It's coming from the village. So
the side Zoe and I are on.
yes, correct.
Minka, should we run towards it, or should we stay put and wait for them?
I think we need to investigate,
I think so too.
but cautiously.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, so looking at that map, you can see there's a few different ways by which you could get back to the village. There's the path directly to the village is blocked by some woods, and again, these are older woods, a lot of large trees and some scrubby underbrush. You can get through it. It's going to be kind of difficult. It'll take you some time to get through it, but on the other hand, you'd have to go around the woods by the path. So
what do you think, in the interest of being discreet?
Oh, hold on, wait, one second before. Just an additional setting thing. Remember that right now it's twilight, so light is dim, especially in the woods. Minka and Zoe, you guys can still see across the river, but those of you that are in the woods, lighting is pretty dim.
I don't run parallel to the river so that we can hopefully.
Agreed.
Start making our way that way.
You fuzzed out, Mare.
Yeah, she's really quiet.
Making our way that way.
Mare, is there any way you could come in on your phone so we could hear you better?
You would have to. I mean, you'd have to go upstairs and.
Who's going then?
Yeah, you guys will just have to deal. If you guys can't hear anything, she'll just repeat it.
Okay, that works. Or you can repeat it.
I can. Give me 1 second. I can turn up my sensitivity so you guys can hear a little better. She's.
And you can help so I don't have to shout.
Yeah. Give me 1 second to adjust these settings.
We just have the baby all set up.
Yeah.
No, we understand. We're good.
How dare
How
you?
dare you attend to your child? Jinx.
Isn't she old enough to watch herself?
She doesn't know what she wants.
Yeah, she's got to start paying rent too.
Yeah, she should be picking herself up by her bootstraps at this point.
Oof.
Did you hear Meredith?
No.
We can't hear. No, we can't hear it at all now. Is she talking?
This thing.
Oh, we can't hear.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, perfect.
Okay. I apologize for the hiccup. Okay, so Meredith and Minka are going to move along the riverbank.
Yep.
Kind of through some of the edge of the woods. Okay. What is everyone else doing?
Going towards the screen.
Yeah, I'll be at the boat waiting, getting it ready in the water, waiting for everybody else.
So
I
Christopher,
hope.
you're waiting. All right. So you guys are running through the woods. You, as you all kind of collectively approach the village, well, for the six of you, Christopher is still waiting by the boat. You hear what sounds like raised voices and shouting. So you guys are getting closer and closer to sounds of the village. It sounds like there's a kerfluffle going on, a little bit of a commotion going on in the village involving multiple people.
Hey, Mike, I'm sorry. I'm confused. Like, I thought that we were going. Never mind. It's not a big deal.
What? No, say what you're saying.
I think Christopher was by the boat because he thought we were coming back to cross the river.
Well, yeah, but the problem, you guys can't communicate, right? So you guys deviated from the plan, and now you guys are going straight to the village. Christopher is waiting for you. That's part of the problem.
But to get to the village, don't they have to go across the river?
River?
Well, exactly. So what are you guys going to do then? Are you guys going to get to the river and see if there's a crossing, or are you guys going to continue? You guys have to reason this out.
I mean, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if we were all within earshot of each other, we'd probably communicate, or, hey, let's go back to the boat to cross the river then. Whereas Meredith and Amy would be ahead of us, we'd still catch up to them.
Or at some point, maybe.
How wide is the river?
It's variable. So where you guys forded, like, maybe a mile to the north, it was very, very slender. But where the ferry was, it was maybe 150 feet across, very deep and pretty fast moving, which is why you needed the ferry in the first place. So it depends.
Right.
You guys might get lucky, you might not.
Right. So are we by the water's edge by this point?
Yes. So about at the same time, Minka and Zoe are going to break through the trees. They see the shadowy outline of the mage's dilapidated hut, still looking just as abandoned.
Which number is that?
That's number 3. So
Okay.
you guys are by the southmost reaches of the village. Far in the distance, well, not too far in the distance, but it's kind of you guys are a little misplaced down there by 3. You see that the hazy outline of the rest of Millik, and a flurry of activity, torches and people outlined, and it looks like they're kind of coming your way. And as for the rest of you, you guys break through the tree line. The bank is a little steeper here than it was back then. It's about 15 to 20 feet to the river's edge. About maybe a stone's throw to the south, there is a tree, a large oak tree that's fallen over, that almost completely bridges the river. So the leaves are submerged, and there's a little bit of non-overlap. But about a stone's throw away, you see a tree that has fallen over and has provided a little bit of a natural bridge.
I would like to run to the Deus Ex Machina and attempt to cross the river.
So you're going to have to roll for everyone who wants to cross this tree. Now, remember, it's dark-ish. This is a pretty fast river, so you guys are all a little nervous. You're running on adrenaline, and you guys are going to have to pass a difficult athletics check if you want to make it over unscathed.
Quick question.
Yes.
How far is this gap?
How far is what?
The gap.
So it's not overly long. The oak tree, you estimate, maybe is like 60 feet tall. And there's a little bit of extra river. So the river's maybe 70, 80 feet wide. But there's no accounting for how deep it is. And it is a pretty steep drop off if you do fall. A good 20.
Okay, so I already used my rope to fasten my weird armor, but if anyone has anything else that we could use to kind of, I don't know, support.
I call out Zoe, do you have rope?
Zoe.
Did you download your character sheet?
Yeah,
It's at the bottom.
I don't think I have rope. Let me look. Can you guys hear me if I do this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have rope.
Is that who just said that?
That was Madison.
Yeah, I've got rope.
Well, we could use it. I mean, if we wanted to, one at a time. The first person, we could kind of fasten it around them. They could jump. If they miss, we could pull them back up. They wouldn't be completely unscathed, but it would help. And if they make it, we could then use the rope as a sort of guide rail.
Yeah. Who's got good physicality and physical skills?
My body is a 9. My leap is okay.
This is going to be determined by your athletics. So that's dexterity and athletics.
So I should not be doing this. Anybody got athletics?
Yikes! Apparently not.
Well, 4.
In athletics?
Yeah.
What's your dexterity?
7.
You got better odds than any of us, so.
All right.
Well, can I? So I think. Let me go back.
So you guys, based off of the geography of this, if you guys were, technically you guys can see each other. You'd have to be looking that way, but you guys are close enough to see each other. And Christopher, with your enhanced eyes,
So
I'm going to say that at this point, just in terms of turns, Christopher can actually see everyone down the river emerge from the woods at the same time. So because of your enhanced eyes, you don't have to do a roll. Christopher, you see everyone getting to the edge of the woods.
Okay.
So I should be able to help because I have a 10 in dexterity and a 5 in athletics.
Nice.
Okay. So it's going to take you another minute to get to across the river to where they are because they're probably closer in latitude to House 4. They're a little north of where you guys are.
All right. Zoe's shouting to tell them to stop and get their attention so we all see each other now. Yo! Suckers.
Okay, we hear you.
She disappeared.
For realism.
We lost Clupper too.
I'm just waiting for you guys to do something. You guys have to roleplay this out. I'm not gonna.
We couldn't hear Meredith.
Oh, okay.
No. All I said was.
All right, we gotta get to the other bank of the river.
All right, so if we could take Madison's rope and kind of toss it to Aenye, in some respects, we could kind of form some sort of railing or anchor. I can kind of hold it from one end. I'm pretty hefty, and I got a low center of gravity, so I could be the base on one end. It could be the base on the other.
Yeah, or whoever's the most athletic here could swim across with the rope.
Yeah, wow.
I'm gonna go across.
All right.
I'll roll.
So let's tie the rope off to your waist and then hold the other end. And then Beetlejuice is gonna pull a small flask out from like somewhere in his robe and just give you a swig.
Okay.
While this is all happening, Christopher, what are you doing?
I'm gonna wave at everybody and then shout, "The boat's right here." I would have crossed by now. In this whole time, I would have given up waiting and just gotten in the boat and crossed myself.
Okay.
I kind of believe that.
I agree.
So let's say that at this point you're kind of embarking into. I mean, which way would you go? Would you go through the woods or back through the path?
Oh, I would have. I'm at the boat, so I just jump on the boat that we put on the shore and then cross the river.
Okay, but you're still a decent little hop, skip, and jump south of where they all are.
Oh,
so
I would start running. I would start following the river and kind of keeping an eye towards the village.
Okay, so you cross the river and you're going on foot north. Then is that what you're saying? Okay. All right. So so Sarah Lynn, you said you're gonna try to make this jump with the rope in hand.
I'm gonna go across on the tree. Yeah.
Yes.
So Ty, this is the
So in case it wasn't clear,
Witcher
because I think you guys
tabletop
might have
game.
different. The tree
it's
was
pretty cool.
on the higher bank on your guys' side.
A friend of mine is
fell
the
down.
DM.
And so the jump is on the other end of the tree. So you have to make.
But
an
yeah, so it's not
athletics
regular
check,
D&D, but it
just
is
across
a
the tree
similar
itself.
thing.
And then once you get to the bottom of the tree, there might be other challenges there. But you have to make the cross just to balance on the tree, downwards towards the other side of the river.
Okay.
Okay.
I already
Just
rolled
about
though.
tied off and ready to go.
I got a 5.
Okay. So Adelina has the rope. Do you have it in hand or do you have it tied around you?
Tied around me.
Okay. So Adelina starts to venture out onto this fallen oak tree. She gets about a quarter of the way down, and it's far slippier and covered with moss. She can't see that well, and so she slips and falls off and manages to catch a limb as she goes down. So you're hanging on to this limb over the river.
All right, so I'll start pulling her back up at this point,
Yeah.
probably making sure she doesn't fall.
Well, so you can, Adelina, if you want to try to pull yourself up, you can.
Yeah, I'll pull myself up.
You can pass a physique check. So it's going to be kind of challenging to get back up. Oh, okay. So you are ripped and you just haul yourself right back up on the oak. And if you want to keep going, you're going to have to pass another athletics check. But it's a little easier this time because you found your footing and you know what your challenges are in stock. So it's going to be challenging, but not as difficult.
You can do it.
With everyone else watching,
Well,
Adeline-
is there anything that I can do to kind of meet her halfway?
Well, I did it, so.
So, so at this point, yes. So Zoe and Minka have turned up at the other side of the river. So again, there's maybe 10 feet of river between the end of this tree and the other side of the bank, and you guys are there. What you guys, you'd have to determine how you want to help. But at this point, Saralyn has made it to the bottom of this tree with a rope in hand.
But she has water to get to the shore?
Correct.
Or...
There's like 10 feet of river between her, and you guys don't really know how deep it is.
But how fast is the water running?
It's a little hard to tell from your vantage in this light, but you surmise it's decently fast. You know, it's not like Whitewater Rapids fast, but it's enough that it would be challenging to walk through.
Is there rocks?
So you're gonna have to. I mean, there's no rocks sticking up, but there might be some rocks right under the water. But you'll have to pass an awareness check to really look around to see if there's anything that can help you.
So, Mare, should you and I look to see if there's any rocks or anything under the water that could support us and not sweep us away? Or is there any long branches that are, like, we're kind of near the woods? Is there any long branches or anything?
Well, you guys have come up this far. You're far from your side of the woods. On the other side, the other guys might have some sticks, but that
doesn't do us any good. So there's no trees near where we are.
No.
Okay.
Can we roll an awareness
What
check?
if I just like jump?
You can jump. It's going to be another difficult athletics check, but you can jump.
I feel like 10 feet is like an average long jump.
You're like high up.
It's dark and it's slippery where you are.
Well,
so.
you know what? I turned my lantern on.
Oh,
Ooh.
smart. Okay, so now Adelina has a better idea of what she's dealing with. She notices that there is some moss kind of on the right-hand side of the tree, so she sets up her footing, and now it's going to be a little easier for you to make this jump.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump. Or
So you put everything into your jump, and you make it across. But as you land, you start to stumble backwards. And
catch me.
Minka
is right there.
Minka's right there.
She set her lantern down so that she would have her hand. And so,
okay.
is it an athletics check?
No, since you placed yourself in the right place, so you got her, and Adelina is successfully to the other side.
Yeah, I'm gonna call to the other side and say pull tight on the rope so we can use it as like a railing across the river.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll say it
down, just like in Mulan.
Yeah. Well, no, not slide down. That's not high enough. Like
they can hold on to it and keep it from the river from sweeping them away.
So I'll say, dwarf was tied to you. The mage and I will go across, and then we'll haul you over last.
Sounds good.
So you're gonna use Michael as your support, your anchor for the rope.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
30.
Okay, Michael, I'm gonna. Okay. So for each of you guys, it's still gonna take some athletics to do this, but it's gonna be pretty easy now that you have the rope secured. So you guys are still gonna have to pass an athletic check as you go down this tree.
I got a 5 on top of a dex of 6 for an 11.
Okay. So Jesse starts sidling down with the rope in hand. At this point, just in terms of timing, Riggs is just about caught up to you. So Christopher, if you've just been, assuming you've just been running straight across, on the side of the river, at this point you're probably between House 3 and where they are east of House 4. That's where you are. Okay, that's what you're doing. He's running.
It said east of House 4.
That's where they are. They're kind of east of House 4. So you're between House 3 and House 4.
Okay, so Adelina made it across, right?
Yes.
And I'll look at her and I say, "What did I say about taking like useless risks?"
Here we are.
The smartest path is most frequently the easiest path.
Well, all these people, they decided to run not towards the way that we came. Oh.
Well, are you one of them?
Well, okay. Did everybody else make it? What are we doing?
We're waiting. Well, you're getting dressed down. Wow.
You guys can have this conversation. I'll let this play out while we're done. While the other thing is on.
Beetlejuice is pulling a flask out of his robes midway across the log.
This is all happening while Beetlejuice is sidling down the log.
I mean, didn't your mother ever tell you that just because all the other kids ran and jumped off a cliff, you should do it too?
Oh, my mother's dead, so.
Okay, well, before she died.
Kids. Let's focus on this right now.
Okay, so Jesse, at this point, Jesse's almost at the bottom. But Mike, seeing as you're the anchor, you're going to have to pass a kind of average-ish endurance check because, I mean, you have a full-grown man tugging at a rope that's anchored to your body. So you're going to have to make sure you can actually endure this as you stand there. So you have to roll to make sure you can continue to do this.
Sounds Gucci. I'm assuming it's a 1d10.
Yes, it's always a 1d10 unless I tell you. Okay, so as Jesse makes it to the bottom, you're fine. You have a pretty stout little dwarven body. Jesse, you make it to the bottom, and with the others' help, you're able to slide off. So now it's only Iroh and Phyrra on the other side, and everyone else is kind of waiting around.
All right, Phyrra, let's go.
Is she still baby duties?
So she's also gonna have.
Yeah, she's off doing baby stuff.
She's gonna have to pass an easy athletics check. So does Christopher? Do you want to roll for your wife?
Yeah, I'll roll for it. I'll roll for
Chris,
it.
we need to hear a voice too.
What was that?
We need a Phyrra voice as well.
Oh, well, this is the best that I can do. She rolled a 2.
I'll take it.
She rolled a 2.
A 2.
Oh no.
So Phyrra starts to walk across this log, and even holding on, immediately slips and falls off, and the rope slips out of her hands, and she falls 15 feet down into this rushing river, which turns out is pretty deep because she plunges into the water and out of sight.
Oh no.
Zoe's panicking. That's my best friend. Somebody has to save her. I have 0 athletic ability.
All right, so the rope is still tied around my waist, correct?
It is.
Correct. And the rest of us have the hold on.
Diving in. He's diving in.
I'm diving in. I'm doing it. I've got pretty good endurance and physique overall, so I feel like I'm the best bet, and everyone else can just kind of hold on for me. And once I grab her, you guys can all pull me back.
Yeah, Beetlejuice is going to grab the end of the rope tied to Adelina.
Okay, so I'm gonna make you roll an athletics check to see how gracefully you go into the water, because it's a little bit of a drop, and you might hit something on the way down. So let's roll an athletics check.
Does it have to be athletics and not endurance?
Yes, it has to be athletics because it's jumping.
That's rude. Thank God.
Okay, so you basically even with your lobster, maybe the lobster armor helps you, and and you do a little you on the spot invent a new diving technique here, thus unseen by the realm of the continent, and you do a lapistray dwarf dive into the water and somehow avoid any rocks or any tree branches or anything on the way down, perfectly into the water. And someone else trying to talk. Sorry. So the current swiftly starts dragging you downriver, and you are weighed down a little bit by your armor and your base armor and the lobster armor you're wearing. At this point, Phyrra kind of emerges, looking a little, spluttery and distressed, but otherwise not critically injured, and she's about 10 feet downriver from you.
Oh, sweet. I thought I'd have to do an awareness check for that. Awesome. So I'm going to start swimming towards her. I'm assuming swimming with the current, I should be able to catch up if she's fighting.
Yes, you'll able to fight. So I'm going to make Phyrra pass another pretty easy athletics check to make sure she can swim.
Okay, I will try my bestest. 7.
Okay, so Phyrra fights the current of the river long enough for Iroh to catch up to her and grab her.
All right, at this point, I'm just going to do like a koala hold, arms and legs wrapped around her. And I yelled at everyone else to try to pull us back.
Does everyone have it? Does everyone have a rope?
Everybody has it.
Okay, well then you guys don't have to pass a check. If it was any individual, yes, but together you guys are more than strong enough to pull this raggedy duo back to shore.
Oh, this relationship. See, Witcher works in your other.
I'm pretty sure I also hate Phyrra to some extent for some reason. Like we have a past issue, but
I don't think so.
All for the good of the group.
Yeah.
No, you. I mean, Beetlejuice still owes you money, but other than that,
a lot of money.
You know I'm good for it.
Where are we now, Mike? Are we like right near House 3 or?
So you, at this point, everyone is close. You guys are close to House 4. So basically, the river right east of that little like jut down in the river, that's where you guys are. So you guys are east of House 4.
Got it.
And can we still hear the shouting?
Yes. So you pull Iroh and Phyrra in, and maybe say a few words to them. Maybe have a little team powwow chat.
Did you guys hear that?
Yes.
I'm getting a beer, so you guys take some time and talk to each other and build teamwork.
I'm just gonna kind of hands on my knees and gasp for a little bit.
You all right?
Hugging Phyrra.
I slap you on the back and pull the same flask out of like somewhere in the depths of his robes and just hands it to you.
If only we had taken a boat or something across this river.
Weirdly enough, I think this is quicker.
Hindsight's 20/20, pal.
We all ended up here at the same time, didn't we?
I'm noticeably less damp.
Lesson learned, setting the party, not a great idea.
Hey, I'm dry. I don't know what anybody's talking about.
Well, I mean, but you're more talented than those others.
And Zoe and I are the most dry. We didn't have to do anything to get across the river.
Sorry for being the hero.
Oof.
You're
okay,
lucky,
so what's the plan with this monster?
For you.
What do you guys think is the plan with this monster? What should we do?
We know nothing. It's in the village. We have a lobster dwarf. We'll make
we
it
don't even know what it is. We don't know that there's a monster.
True, we just hear screaming.
We just know that people are screaming.
Why don't we take some time to slowly kind of scope out the situation? No cannonballing through trapdoors, no kicking people in the balls. Let's just take a moment, try to maybe find if there's some coverage in the woods. We can use the twilight to our advantage and see what's going on before we dive in.
That's a good idea.
Agreed.
Completely uncalled for.
I'm sorry, I got a little personal there. Lobster
No,
voice.
I think that's a good idea. Maybe somebody can go and just kind of sneak up on the situation and see and observe what's going on.
Oh, that's a good idea.
don't know. Last time we split up, things didn't go great.
Well, we can go at folks can follow at a short
You can
distance.
trail behind.
But from a stealth, like how many, like what kind of stealth do folks have?
Well, you're the thief.
Yeah, I know. Mine is 15.
Yours is the best. I'm gonna say probably
Yep.
the best.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
I'm an old man in some heavy armor. I make some noise.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that maybe Minka folks can kind of stage and get closer, but Minka's going to try to creep the closest to be able to try to see what's going on.
Agreed.
So as soon as Clupp gets back, that's the plan.
I'm back. I don't know. Just maybe talk louder. I don't know what to tell you.
Have we heard any more sound from the village?
So, I was letting you guys just kind of talk it out because I appreciate that you're forming plans. But as you guys are sitting there planning, our friend Moralka, wielding a torch, has seen you struggling over the river, and sprints up, looking determined, and looks directly to Riggs and says, "Please, Witcher, I know you're a monster hunter, and the monsters come to our village. It's crossed the river, it's come to our village. I saw it myself. It was giant and monstrous and awful, and it crossed the river in seconds, and oh, it was terrible, and it's gone south towards the Mage's house."
Oh no.
All right.
Let's go.
Let's go. So I'll run off that direction.
You're saying we went past it?
Apparently so, yeah. Well, you didn't go past it.
Yeah.
Apparently Zoe and
Well, it
Minka.
wasn't there yet when we went as we were traveling back.
Doesn't sound like you were very vigilant.
Jeez.
So as you guys are all running, Minka says, "I don't know what happened, but I saw something leave the woods. I was so afraid, I screamed. I ran back to the village to get the men. I don't know where the soldiers are. There's usually soldiers posted in the tavern at all times, but they seem to have left us in our hour of need. And I got the bartender. And gathered the men, and we went over, except for it had gone.
Those of you who don't know.
Looked around. I saw it disappear into the weeds.
For those of you who
Looks
don't
like
know,
some
in our first
giant
session, we killed
snake or
all
something
of those
long
soldiers
and
in a fight,
twisted.
or
I
at
don't
least
know.
we scared them
I'm
off.
no
We killed one
witcher,
of them for sure.
but it
It was
disappeared
bad.
into the
Watch that
Mage's house.
episode. It
went
was a good
into
time.
the house.
Wow.
Bum bum bum.
Yeah. Let's go.
Yep.
All
Let's go.
right. So as soon as I get to the house, I'm gonna what do I see?
So, you see there's a couple villagers outside, some of which you recognize. You recognize the white-haired sailor-looking bartender, the two people playing Gwent, who still look somewhat intoxicated as they stand there swaying with torches, and an old man who you don't recognize from your time in the village. All of the village kids are conspicuously absent, obviously, and they're standing with torches around the mage's house. Now, I believe you guys kind of locked up the house behind you as you left. So now, obviously, you couldn't reestablish, or you didn't try to reestablish the magical trap. And the door to the mage's house has been torn off its hinges, and you see nothing but darkness past the threshold.
Bring up your weapon.
Spooky.
All right, I'll rush and I'll kind of listen. Can I listen at the from outside the house to see if I notice anything?
Yeah. You'll have to roll some awareness.
Question.
What's up?
Since Chris has better eyesight, does he need the torch to see, or can we give it to one of us?
You mean Morocco's? Oh, you mean you guys have your own lamps, and then all the villagers have their own torches.
Gotcha.
So I got 21.
Okay. So you kind of attune you step forward past the villagers and attune your ears, and you don't hear anything on the ground floor, but you hear maybe some what sounds like scuffling and squelching from what you now, because you explored the house, is that basement area, that hidden away area. Whatever the Monster of Millik is seems to have gone down there.
Well, I thought I identified it last time, at least what it was called.
You have the Berberoka.
Yeah.
That's that's what you think it is. Yeah. But you haven't actually seen it, so you don't know.
All right, good folk. I'm gonna turn to the town. So, we're going in after that thing. Remember us fondly. And then I'm gonna go in there.
And then, but before you go, the two Gwyn players, they say, "Wait, do you want torches? We have these. We don't have any weapons. Unfortunately, the soldiers took them all with us. But you can have these if you want."
Yep, fire probably good. I'll take those. Thank you.
They hand one torch to Jesse, and they walk up to Iroh, who they obviously look at a little quizzically because he's dressed in some different kinds of armor. But as they bested him in Gwent, they have a respect for him, and they hand him a torch and say, "Good luck, Master Dwarf. We know that you'll kill this monster for us."
I'm gonna whip out my cleaver and run into the burning house, or not burning, just
why is it burning? Set it on fire.
Maybe I'll set it on fire. You never know.
That's later.
Well, Zoe's gonna follow with her bow and arrow drawn.
Yeah, I've drawn my longsword too.
Yeah, I got the staff in one hand.
Ready to fight.
My silver sword is out.
Going out with my oogity boogity hands
Can you
up.
maybe sing a song for us?
Singing a song?
What?
Sing.
Hard.
Play.
Oh yeah.
What's the motivation?
I don't know any songs.
Country roads.
Gaelic road.
Take me home.
I failed us all. I should have had things queued up for this moment.
To the place.
Okay.
Down the stairs.
All right, so we're all inside the house. Do we see the what we think is a Berber?
Well, as you shuffle into the house, because you all have torches and Riggs has his Witcher sight, there's nothing in this first floor, but you can tell something has been here since you guys were here. The monster incubator table, it looks like it's been overturned and kind of smashed a little bit. The trapdoor, again, is kind of torn off. It looks like it's collapsed. So whatever it is had the force to collapse it from the outside in. And the bed has been thrown aside. The carpet's been torn asunder. So whatever came in here did a little damage. So you guys
check on that dude that we left here tied up.
Well, you left him down in the basement. So presumably he and the Monster of Millik are inhabiting the same space right now.
Right. I drop one of the torches down the because how far of a drop was it into the cellar?
It's about 10 feet, and then there's a little bit of a path. If you'll imagine a little bit of maybe 10 or 15 of a corridor, and then it opens up into that room that had the bed and that mysterious contraption. And down there, it's probably I don't know, as big as the average living room per se. I don't really have a good metric on what
that's not going to be enough space to fight it.
It's going to be a little cramped down there. You guys could all fit, but you have no idea how big this thing is. So
maybe we should draw it out.
Can I make an awareness check? Do I hear anything down there?
You can make an awareness check, yeah, if you want.
Not great. +3 is 7, plus my intelligence of 9 is 16.
So you listen in as everyone's shuffling in. You don't hear anything really at all.
Boo, Jesse.
Right. Let's. I wonder if anyone's down there.
Hello?
I'm gonna drop the torch down.
Okay.
You should drop it with one of your alcohols.
Nobody
I'm
asked
gonna
you.
cocktail the house.
And then let's go down.
I'm gonna follow it.
All right. So Jesse, are you going down first?
No, I'll hold him back and then jump down.
It's your funeral.
What happened when he dropped the torch down there?
Nothing happened.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
All right, I'm gonna jump down with Christopher. Sorry, Riggs.
Now I'm going down.
I know. I can't wait.
All right, wait. Just wait a second. What do I see when I jump down?
So when you jump down, takes about a second for your Witcher eyes to acclimate. And here's what you see. There is the glowing contraption you saw before. There is the bed that you saw before. But on top of the bed is, well, maybe the alderman's there, but curled around that bed in a sort of defensive position is a monster that you, Riggs, have never seen before. And you've seen things like it. It looks like a giant centipede curled around itself. Maybe 30 feet long. It's hard to tell because it's curled up in almost like a circle formation. The coloring is distorted, but in the light, but it's got large mandibles and long legs, as centipedes do, and it as your feet hit the floor, it kind of contracts and reflexes, and its head with its mandibles looks at you and clicks, and it hisses, but it doesn't make a move.
I'm too old for this shit.
Does it seem to react to my lobster armor at all?
When you jump down?
Yeah, I jumped down exactly at the same time as Christopher.
Yes. Okay, so when Michael jumps down, let's see what happens when Michael jumps down. I'm going to roll for this monster. Okay. So as Michael jumps down, it reacts almost immediately. It unfurls itself, and as large arachno type enemies do, crawls up on the wall and basically flattens itself against the wall, and with its head looking at you and hisses and waits, I guess, waits for you. It makes itself as flat as possible.
Don't make a move, dwarf.
Clearly, it's afraid. First of all, so you're welcome.
Am I down there as well at this point?
Yes. And when
Right.
Jesse jumps down, interestingly enough, it reacts to Jesse as well, and as if it could, it gets even flatter against the wall and maybe shifts around a little bit.
Okay.
Interesting.
I asked them what's going on down there.
There's a big pissing bug down here.
Just everyone stay calm. You said I haven't seen anything like this before?
No.
Well, Berberokas are supposed to be pretty rare to begin with, correct?
Well, you guys have found a couple clues, and remember, Christopher found that egg shard that he had never seen anything like it before. He had never read anything about it before.
Can I try and use my Witcher skill to pick up its posture or its general attitude?
Yes, you may.
All right, so that's 5 plus 6 is 11 plus 10 is 21.
Okay. So here's what you, in your Witcher training, discern from this monster. Monsters like this, large monsters that you don't recognize, typically mean that they're novel mutagenous monsters that are bred by mages, meaning that this monster probably has a couple different types of monster blended into it. When I say that you've seen things like it before, you've been to the south of Tucson and you've seen arachnomorphs, kind of centipede-like monsters that look a little like this. You recall that the Berberoka, this kind of fictional creature that you can't really get a read on, is scared of lapistrays. It's possible that there might be a little bit of Berberoka genes spliced in there. So just knowing immediately that you don't know what this is, you're able to figure out that this monster, and you know that it's been bred by mages because you guys did the proper investigation. This monster is probably a amalgamation of multiple different monsters blended into one, but overwhelmingly it's an insectoid, but it's a hybrid type. So what else you know about this, because of your Witcher training, that monsters that are hybrids, they bear the strengths and weaknesses of the monsters that make them up. So while let's say that you're fighting a hybrid, it will be weak to things like hybrid oil, which basically wrench apart their very being. But the individual monsters that make them up, they'll also be weak to them, albeit a lesser degree.
Okay.
So you realize this monster is probably a genetic mutated hybrid made by this mage, because you've never seen anything like it before. And you even recall in the back of your mind, because you've read something about monsters like this being bred at an academy somewhat near here called Risberg. You can't recall exactly what you read, but you remember that there's an academy in south of the country of Sedaris called Risberg, that at one point they were breeding monsters pretty heavily. So you just.
What can I tell? Like, is it defensive? Is it scared? Like, can I pick up on that?
Yes, it's defensive and scared. It is not going to. Have you guys? I mean, right now it's kind of like a snake coiled to strike.
Okay.
So if you guys get any closer, it might attack. If you guys provoke it, it might attack. Right now, it's just kind of holding. It's waiting to see what you guys are going to do.
Is there any chance that it might flee?
Well, it has nowhere to flee. You have it cornered.
Is the alderman on the table now that it's backed up against the wall?
Well, I mean, he's on the bed. What's left of him is on the bed anyway.
But it doesn't look good?
No, it does not. He's in pieces.
All right.
He's basically just a bloody ruin.
I'm going to whisper to the dwarf and the drunk. Back up the hatch. And I'll kind of stand between them and the monster and not be threatening, but kind of like, get back up the hatch. We can't save him.
I'll go that way. I'm sorry, Clupp. What did you say the measurements of like the cord, from the ladder to at this point the critter are?
The critter is probably, let's see, maybe say that's like 50 feet.
No.
What is that?
15 yards. 15 feet.
15 feet.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the creature is probably like, I don't know, 20 feet away from you.
Okay.
And unfurled now because it's completely I'm not bad at distances. I'm
only that
laughing
at
so
distances of casting.
The monster is probably, now that it's completely unfurled and pressed, kind of wrapped around the edge of this wall, you see it's probably about 20-25 feet long. Probably like its body, its segmented little centipede body is about 4 feet thick, and it's got many legs.
I don't like it.
So
okay.
That's where it is in relation to you.
I'm sorry, you said that, what was it, 15 feet you said?
It's about 15-20 feet away from you, and it itself
okay.
is about 20 feet, 25 feet long.
Gotcha.
Is the cellar like a real cellar, like it's in stone or earth?
It's been carved out by magic, so it's actually it looks like it's been cleanly cut away, but it's all the walls are all earth, like compacted earth.
So I don't think it's a great idea for me and Beetlejuice to leave completely, considering it seems to be scared of us to some extent. So maybe we'll back up and
Fight it in there.
Well, I'm backing up with you.
I would like to back up to exactly, if I'm doing my math correctly here, 24 feet away from it.
So my thought is to back
maybe-
up and then throw, if we have any lamp oil or anything, throw it down the cellar and just let it burn.
That's a great idea.
I can stun it.
Yeah, okay, that works for me.
All right. So do we have the flammables ready?
We need to not be in the cellar when we do that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Or did you guys leave the cellar?
How much? Well, I don't know if we have we don't have enough oil.
Oh, we do.
I mean, it's a pretty big cellar, and with it being carved out by magic, I don't think whatever material the walls and ceiling are going to be necessarily flat.
We can't fight it down in the basement because it's too small, so we have to lure it out anyway. Oh, either it works or it works in the other way, that it lures it outside.
All right. I can try and curse it here and then scramble up the ladder right after.
Well, Jesse, you could just wait till you get out. We could kind of step by step get out. You could get out, I could get out. And then if you could cast some sort of spell on the area, so I don't know, some sort of barrier or something to keep it there. I don't know what you can do.
That's not in my wheelhouse, mate.
All right. Let's get up the ladder.
Yeah.
Who has lanterns?
We should have a lot, considering all the townspeople are here too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we got some torches, right?
Yeah, townspeople gave you their torches. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna climb up. Is the angry mob still outside the hovel?
Yeah, they're waiting there, kind of waiting for you guys to help them out and dispatch this monster. So.
All right. So my
Go ahead.
is we tell all of the villagers to run back to the pub and get as much flammable liquid as they can and bring it back, because we are relatively close.
Yeah. Okay. So with my
Did you say that, Michael? Did you tell them that?
I'm
I
telling
run out and tell the villagers that.
Okay.
So
The bartender kind of, he looks alive, like he hasn't been since his sailing days. Like he's finally been given a task from his commanding officer that can help him protect the ones that he loves, and he perks up and he says, "I know just the thing," and he sprints off faster than any old man should be able to towards the pub. At this point, the two Gwent players kind of realize their task is done. They don't leave, but they start kind of backing off. But the widow Moralka, she stands still and looks firm in her place. Like she's gonna tackle this monster if it comes out. You know, she wants to protect the village. So that's what happens when you guys tell them that.
All right. So we have.
And meanwhile, we're pouring lamp oil, whatever we do have down the hatch. Right?
Wait. We should let's salvage what we can before we burn the whole mother down here. Can I run over to the tossed over incubator and stuff, see if there's anything that can be salvaged?
Yes. So you're yes, you're gonna have to do not an awareness check, you're gonna have to do an education check, because at this point to see what is actually of magical or scholarly use to you. That's kind of the only slot that fits in.
What's the monster doing?
The monster is still down there. As far as you guys leave, it doesn't follow you, so presumably it's still down there.
Okay, so I had a 6 plus 2 plus 9 is 17. What'll that get me, GM?
So you realize, you go over there's some stuff that looks in okay shape, but there's other stuff that's cracked. And from your learnings, you know that this kind of monster breeding equipment is really only good as a complete set. So maybe you can take some of it if you want to sell it, but it's not going to do you any good unless you get the rest of the set.
I mean, I think I was more interested in more in terms of like, I want like evidence, you know?
Oh yeah. So I mean, you based off of your magic education, you don't know exactly what each of these tools are used for, but if you want to gather some of them up, I mean, some of them are working and some of them aren't.
Yeah, I'm just like slapping shit in a bag at this point. Like,
Okay.
you know, we have that, we have like the letter, and we have like the dearly departed testimony of the alderman. So like, I know something shady's going on. I just want to grab proof.
Okay. So I just wrote a little note. Assorted magical tools to Jesse. It's gonna be +2 weight.
All right. Fair.
Well, Jesse, you are all on the main floor at this point, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Christopher, what are you at the top of the ladder at this point?
Yes. I'm kind of in a defensive posture in front of the hatch.
So I don't want to typically remind you of this, but you do have those blade oils, and this is a little bit of a gray area because you from your monster lore and your Witcher training, you know, I mean, this monster is clearly an insect, so insectoid oil would be the most effective. You know, it's a hybrid, so hybrid oil would also be effective. However, because you reasoned out that at least part of this monster might be a Berberoka, Berberokas are considered. Some people consider them hybrids in themselves, but that's actually incorrect. They're relics of a bygone era. They are some of the oldest monsters brought by the conjunction of the spheres tied to the natural world, and that's why they appear as kind of fables or stories because they're so old. And so you got relic oil, and so you realize that might be of some assistance to you in this fight.
Yeah, I'll apply. I was just about to ask if I could apply some oil.
Yeah, that's a good. So yeah, while you're doing that, while everyone else is kind of scrambling, you're applying the relic oil to your blade.
What was the other oil that I got? Ogrid?
Ogroid oil. Yeah. So I guess you just store that away in a safe place.
Yep. Is it one use?
Yes, it is. Okay. So around this time, Zoe, you said that you're also kind of stuffing things into your pouch.
Well, I didn't realize. I was confused. I thought we were on different floors. But...
Okay, so you're just gonna let Jesse do his thing?
Yeah, that's fine as long as Jesse thinks he can get everything he wants.
Yeah, he gets enough. Okay.
In that case, Zoe might go and stand defensively in front of the remaining villagers.
Sorry about that. Was getting the call. Did I miss anything?
No, just that Christopher applied some relic oil to his blade, reasoning out that Berberokas are probably in the relic class.
Is the liquor here yet?
Yes. So the bartender comes back, holding a couple demijohns of something that's so strong and probably so poorly distilled that you can almost Chris Riggs can definitely smell it as he approaches because the smell is just so strong. Maybe it's even moonshine. And he looks as happy as the day he was married, if he was ever married. You guys don't know this guy, but he's just grinning from ear to ear, and he's hoping that you can use some of these tools from his personal store to light this monster on fire and make the village safe. And so he hands them to Zoe because Zoe's right there protecting the villagers, and says, let the fucker burn.
So I have trap crafting too, so can I take them and basically just set up a fuse so that we can be relatively far away from the building when we light this thing on fire?
Yeah, but so Sarah Lynn would have to craft the trap. So Sarah Lynn, roll a trap crafting. A craft crafting. Guys, I can talk. I'm a good GM.
Words are hard.
Can I help her out?
3.
Yeah, since you guys are all together, you can kind of combine your roles. So Michael, you can roll one as well.
Nice.
All right, so that's 19 for me.
Okay, so here's what's gonna happen. You will be able to craft a trap in which you have a fuse running from, somewhere out in or outside the house into this collection of flammable moonshine. However, you're going to need a fuse, and Michael, because you rolled the craft, you realize the best fuse is probably this bodily juice soaked lapistray rope that you have tied around you. And so the only way you're going to be able to craft this trap is if you use the rope and disassemble your hastily manufactured armor.
A, I think you wrote that on purpose, and that's bullshit. But B, I'll do it.
Michael, the only way I would be able to write that is if I had anticipated that you would have killed the lobster and strapped it to your body. So no.
Yeah, you've had a week to sit on this.
Wait, we can't make a line of alcohol out the door and fire.
We can use my.
Can't we put a rag in a bottle and throw it inside?
So you have enough. The guy brought you maybe 3 demijohns of whatever this moonshine is, as much as he could carry. And you have the lantern from your lantern oil, but it has to run down into the thing all the way up the stairs, and so it'd have to be enough to actually drag.
We'll use my rope, and then I can craft the armor more professionally later on once this thing's dead anyway.
Correct.
So, Clupp, can I
What?
use my fire magic? If they put all this alcohol over by the basement, that way Michael doesn't have to get rid of his lapistray armor, and I shoot my fireball at it.
There's still going to have to be some kind of fuse, Madison, because there has to be line of sight. But it would allow them to make the fuse shorter and maybe just use lantern oil and alcohol.
Well, keep the door open.
But just remember that you have to be able to. You're going to have to be confident in your spellcasting ability for that to actually work.
Let's just use the fuse.
We'll use my armor, and then I can. We're not destroying the armor. We're destroying what's holding the armor onto me, and I'll be able to buy more and improve on it later. It was only temporary anyway, so we'll use the rope to be the fuse. It's all good.
All right.
Only if you're sure, Michael. We were trying to get you out of it.
It's heartbreaking, but it's fine.
So then my question to you is this: if that's the path you're going to take, you have all of this kind of like discarded lapistray carcass. What are you going to do with it?
Well, I'm going to hold on to that and use it for my armor that I'm going to craft more.
Well, it's armor size. Like you had it lashed to your body, so it doesn't exactly fit in any pouch. So if you're going to hold on to it, I mean that would take you out of combat. You're physically holding it. So
well, no, I'm dropping it on the ground for now. I can come back for it later. Once I kill this thing, I'm picking it right back up and taking it to the black.
Okay. Where are you dropping it?
I'll put it out of any sort of blast range, or I'll give it to my Gwent buddy.
Okay. All right. So, you guys finish crafting this trap. So you kind of throw, or you kind of like lower down some of those moonshine demijohns into the hole, and pour some lantern oil over the rope, and allow it to run out. And so it's sitting at the edge of this threshold of the mage's house. And the rest of you, I presume, are going to gather outside for this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So is the plan for Phyrra to then light it on fire?
Yes.
All right, Phyrra, roll a spell casting and light her up.
Let's go.
I have my sword out, by the way, because this thing's probably gonna come rushing out of here.
Yeah, I still have my cleaver.
Yeah.
Rolled an 8 plus.
Yeah, you're good. So,
Okay. Oof.
Phyrra waves her staff and lights the edge of the rope on fire, and everyone's satisfied to see the fuse for this crafted trap light up, The fire follows the rope down into the cellar and out of sight. And all of a sudden you hear kind of a not an explosion, but you hear something. A whoosh. Yeah, a whoosh is good. Not even 30 seconds later, there's a bit of a squealing, and out comes the monster. It's not on fire, but it looks pissed. You guys have done a little bit of damage to this thing, and it comes kind of pouring out of the door and ready to fight.
As soon as it rocks out, I would like are you like rolling any kind of battle order or how?
Okay, so I was going to mention this at the beginning, but I kind of forgot. So I'll just tell you now. So what I've decided to do, and let me know if this is okay with you guys, just to make combat in the future less cumbersome, I've decided to keep kind of a consistent battle order based off of you guys' reflex. So that we don't have to do this every single time we do combat. And Mike also pointed out there are some inconsistencies between like setting up a battle order and not. So what we're going to do is Christopher has the highest reflex as the Witcher, has 11 reflex. So he's always going to go first in battle, followed by Madison. And then after that, everyone else has the same reflex. And so you guys will kind of, you guys will be able to basically act as the same time. So I'll kind of quiz you and say, like, what do you guys want to do? You know, and you guys can pick and choose who goes, but more or less you guys are all acting at the same time. And then depending on what the enemy's reflex is, they'll act in between that. Now, that will be superseded if one of you in particular initiates combat. So in the case of Michael kicking the bandit in the groin, from here on out, if he's the one who initiates it, it only makes sense that he's the first one to go, and then we'll follow the order from there. So that'll kind of supersede that. Same thing with Meredith fighting the Lapistray. She took the first shot, and so she should be the first one to do battle order. And then it would be Christopher, and then Madison, and then everyone else fitting in enemies depending on their reflex. So I'm going to kind of abandon the roll system just so we don't have to do that every time, and just say reflex doesn't change. We'll just go by the same attack order every time we enter combat. Are you guys okay with that?
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
really like
Yeah, and just to clarify that for my own notes, it's Christopher, then Madison, then the rest of us.
Correct. You guys have equal reflex, so more or less in the context of the game, you guys will all be acting at the same time. But in terms of me asking you what to do, I might just go down the row and say, all right, what are you guys going to do? You know, like Jesse, what are you going to do now? All right, Meredith, what are you going to do now? So you guys will know that it's all happening at the same time, but in the game, it'll be a little off. All right. And so in this case, this monster comes out a little pissy. Riggs is the first one up there to meet him. Riggsy boy, how are you gonna act?
I'm going to take a strong attack at him.
Anywhere? Just anywhere in the body?
Yeah, anywhere.
So
because I believe as a Witcher I don't have any disadvantage on using a strong attack.
Correct. As a Witcher from the Wolf Skull. Correct. Okay. And so you make a swing. The enemy tries to get around you. All right, so make a 1d10 and let me know what you get.
7.
7?
Yep, 7.
Okay, so you do manage to hit him. So your weapon is what, 4d6? Is
it's
that
46
right?
plus 2.
46 plus 2. So go ahead and roll your 46.
That's 3 and 6 is 9. Plus 5 is 14. Plus 5 is 19.
Plus your weapon damage?
Plus 2. Yeah, plus 2.
Okay. And then roll a 1d10 to figure out where you hit him.
So 3.
3. So you hit it kind of in the thorax. It tries to reposition around you and isn't successful. So you you move to the side and hit it in the thorax.
Do I double my damage on a strong?
Yes, you do. And it has armor, and you also add
So my effect is armor piercing.
What effect?
It says on my weapon, the effect is armor piercing.
Is that on your silver sword or your steel sword?
I don't know. It's the only sword that's here. I guess it's a steel sword.
All right. Sorry, another combat hiccup. Let me look up and see what yours says, because I. Okay. I think that's your steel sword, not your silver sword. Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. I'm just checking.
But you do you do a little bit more damage because you have the oil on. So you're lucky. So you hit this thing, you really do some freaking damage. You're gonna do. Sorry, give me 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah, you do it, and it recoils. You heard it. You definitely notice what I mean. It kind of moves backwards a little bit. All right, Madison, you have a chance to strike next. What are you gonna do?
So how far away is this thing from me? What would you say?
You guys are all kind of standing in a semicircle around the entrance, and so it's within maybe like 10 feet. Pretty close.
So you'd say like 2 meters?
Sure.
All right, I'm gonna use Zephyr on it, which is gonna push it back and do 1d6 damage. So we got a little bit of space if they need to back up.
Okay. All right, so go ahead and roll a spellcasting check.
A 2. Plus. What is it again, Mike?
I don't worry about it. I have it all here in your fancy spreadsheet, so it automatically calculates.
Hey.
Are you aiming anywhere in particular?
Just in its general direction.
Unfortunately, it is able to move out of the way before you're able to hit it.
Oof. Sorry, guys.
So this thing, whatever it is, this thing has the next move. So Madison blasts wind at it. Even though it's still kind of writhing from Riggs' attack, it gathers itself and moves to strike back at Riggs. Now this monster is going to go right for Riggs' chest. And let's see. All right. So it makes a strike. Riggs, what are you going to do?
It made a strike against me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna... Can I try and deflect as much as the strike with my sword as I can?
Yeah. So you have the option of blocking, which will just kind of stop the trajectory, or you can try to parry its momentum, which will be a little harder to do, but it'll kind of stagger it for a second.
I'm gonna try and parry the momentum.
All right. Roll a 1d6 and let me know.
A d6?
Yep. Or sorry, no, 1d10. My bad.
D10. Got it.
Mobby.
Oh no, I rolled a 1. Why'd you make me roll the wrong dice first?
All right, so I'm going to need you to roll another 1d10 and let me know what it says.
5.
Okay. So, unfortunately, Chris, you go to parry, but because of the momentum of how strong you hit it before, you stumble a little bit and aren't able to successfully parry it. And so, it throws with all its momentum, its body at you, and hits you with its mandibles. And so, it's going to go for your torso, which let's see how much armor you have there. Thank you. You do have some armor, if I'm not mistaken.
8.
Well, you had 8. You lost a little bit of armor in the
Oh, so
battle
I'm at
against
7.
the bandits. So yeah, you're at 7. Okay. All right. And with its mandibles, it can do a decent little bit of damage. All right. It does hurt you a little bit. I mean, you're knocked back a little bit. Okay.
How much did it hurt me?
It does 3 damage to you. So, I mean, actually not a ton, but I have to be dramatic, don't I?
Did it damage my armor at all?
Yes, it does. Your armor is down to 6.
Okay.
Who's next?
Now it's down to any of you guys. So you guys can move of your own volition, and if no one talks, I'm going to call on you.
I got one. If that's all right.
Yeah.
So I really wish I had one in my pocket crawdad for this. I thought of this later. But, so are the Lapistray bits still sitting around somewhere?
Yes, they're sitting by the I mean the other villagers at this point have definitely backed. I mean they've kind of run away, but they're still standing at a distance. And the 2 Gwent players, I'm sorry to say, Michael, did not pick up your armor and do anything. So it's like a couple yards behind you guys, just sitting there discarded.
That's perfect. So I'm gonna with my staff point to the pile of Lapistray bits. Yell, "The power of crab compels you," and cast the 3rd level of Cursed Illness on this critter.
All right, so explain to me how Cursed Illness works, because
I'm glad you asked, Clupp. So
I don't know who I am.
At its 3rd level, Cursed Illness.
Is this a hex?
No, it is an invocation. Basically, I am attempting to poison this thing right now. So, Cursed Illness causes one target to fall ill. The illness manifests differently based on how many stamina points are spent. Yada yada yada. So I'm spending 6 stamina points to try to poison it, essentially. The invocation ends when the target makes an endurance roll at a DC equal to the casting roll. And as I look up the poisoned effect, I think basically it'll have to make a saving roll equivalent to whatever I roll for my spell casting, is how I understand it. And if it, but until then, it will take 3 points of poison damage every turn.
All right.
So let me roll that there thing. So
let me know what you get.
Right. So 1d2. So that's a roll. Oh, it's a roll of 10.
Oh wow. Okay. So roll another 1d10. See what you stack onto it.
2. So it's 10. A roll of 10, the additional roll of 2.
So you do a lot, and so this animal or this creature is going to try to. And there's kind of like a bluish beam of magic that comes out of your staff, and it is going to try to dodge out of the way. And so let's see if it is able to do so. No, it is not. And so Beetlejuice's poison ravaging beam hits him square in the chest. This beats massive chest. Now, here's the problem, Jesse. It's going to cost you a little bit of health damage because you only have a vigor of 2, and so it costs. I believe you've overexerted yourself a little bit. So
it's a cost of 6 stamina for this, but I thought vigor was only.
So for every 1 point of stamina cost beyond your vigor threshold, you must spend 5 HP, and so that's 4 past your vigor, and so that's 20. You basically are gonna do 20 HP damage to yourself.
Didn't do that math correctly.
To poison this animal, and so Beetlejuice hits it, and the animal kind of writhes around a little bit, and obviously is not happy. But Jesse also kind of collapses to the ground. Now it's going to have to roll a lot to get over it. You rolled a magic attack sum of 25. Pretty damn good. So this monster's really well good in poison, but unfortunately you're pretty weak right now.
Did not do that math correctly. All right.
So you're still. I mean, you still have 25 points of HP damage. All right. So that leaves the rest of our heroes to pick and choose what they want to do. What's going to happen?
So I'm going to throw one of my throwing knives.
Okay.
Oh.
Every
Are you there?
Yep.
Oh, okay, cool. So that's 1 die 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's small blades, so
I'll calculate that on this end.
Yep. Got a 6. So
are you aiming anywhere in particular?
I'm aiming at the biggest part of it.
All right, well, that's just its torso.
Yep.
Okay. So this monster is going to try to dodge out of the way. Unfortunately, Minka, your throwing knife missed by a hair. I mean, just barely misses.
All right, I'm gonna take a swing at this monster thingy. I'm assuming I'm within.
Yeah, you guys are all within range. You guys are fighting in close combat right now.
All right, so I'm going to take a swing at it with my cleaver. So that's a small blade, space of 6, and then my cleaver is a 3.
Well, actually, give it 1 second. I forgot that as basically Minka, you would have a chance to throw another knife, but you're going to get a penalty for that because it takes a little bit to ready one and aim it. So you'll get a small penalty, but you do have the chance to throw another knife if you do so choose.
Okay, so 20 missed, right?
Yeah, that last one missed.
So
you guys also, just so you guys know, you guys are fighting in very dim light right now. So everyone except for Christopher is suffering because of that.
But we're all close, so the light shouldn't really matter that much, and everything's on fire.
There should be a lot of fire.
Yep.
Fair enough. Okay. I mean, you still would have failed, but
okay. I'm just saying. There's a lot of fire going on. So I would throw another knife So I just did, and I got a 9 plus,
Ooh.
yeah, plus 6 is 15 plus 22 or 23.
All right. Let's see. This creature is going to try to dodge out of the way again. Let's see what happens. Oh, not looking good for the theater. Definitely not good for this thing. Oh, wow. Okay, so Minka, your second throwing knife hits true and hits hard and does a decent little bit of damage.
So I have to roll for that, though, right?
Yep, and so that's, I think throwing knives are 1d6. Is that
Yes,
is that
they
right?
are. They're 1d6. Whoops. And I got a 6.
All right. So unfortunately, this creature's armor absorbs all of the damage, but you do damage its armor a little bit. It's has some insectoid kind of chitin coating the whole animal. So you don't break through. The dagger kind of bounces off, but you weaken the chitin a little bit.
Okay.
All right. So now, Mike, you want to go, and then I'll be.
Yeah, I'll take a swing with my cleaver. So I do reflex plus my small blades plus the damage of the weapon.
Yep, just roll a 1d6 and I'll, or sorry, roll a 1d10 and I'll do the rest. Now remember, everyone, you can either do 2 fast strikes or 1 strong strike.
I'll go for 2 fast strikes, actually.
Okay. Are you going to aim at the body as well?
Yeah, whatever's easiest to hit.
Okay. All right, let me know what you get.
Okay, so I'm rolling a 1d10.
Yep.
Got a 7.
You do a pretty good attempt. This thing is pretty wicked fast, but there are a lot of you. What you guys might not remember from the rules, I don't know how well you read over, having multiple enemies arrayed against you actually does decrease your defense roll. So because there's 7 of you basically fighting this thing at once, it's really hard for it to dodge out of the way and dodge all of you because you're all attacking it at once. So the fact that you guys are all here, all fighting at the same time, definitely gives you guys an upper hand. So I mean, you guys probably didn't mean to do that, but because you guys are all here fighting at the same time, it's definitely assisting you guys a little bit. All right, so it tries to dodge out of the way, and does not do so effectively. So let me know. Go ahead and roll whatever your weapon damage is, and let me know what it is. I think yours like 3d6.
Yeah, it's a 3d6.
All right, so go ahead and roll 3d6. And let me know what you get.
5, 2, 4.
All right, so 11.
Yes, sir.
So with this, you're not able to break through its armor, but the armor in its body is weakening.
So now I get to do my second attempt, correct?
Yes, you do. Yep.
So 1d10 again.
Yep. Okay, so this thing is going to try to block your attack with its mandibles. This time, it kind of got out of the way. It's going to try to block, but you have a decent bit of attack, and I do believe you're going to hit it again. Yep, you hit it again. in its torso. As fast as it tries to move out of the way, you're a step faster. So go ahead and roll 3d6 again.
6.
6 total.
Yeah, 222.
So again, you're not able to break through, but you do again, you damage its armor again a little bit. All right, so we have now Adelina and Zoe ready to move.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a strong swing with my sword.
Okay. Are you just aiming for the torso again as well?
Yeah, just like the easiest spot to hit, you know. So, yeah. Or so. It's a 1d10, right?
Yep.
6.
This thing's also going to try to grab your sword with its mandibles. It moves pretty fast. See, does it move fast enough? We'll find out. Yes, it does. It grabs your sword in its mandibles, and unfortunately, you are not. It wrenches you out of the way, and deals a little bit of stamina damage. Not enough to really do anything. So you're gonna take 5 stamina damage.
Okay.
You've been well trained. It's probably not going to do a whole lot to you. All right, Zoe, you're last up to act. What are you going to do, baby?
I'm gonna shoot arrows at it.
You're going to shoot an arrow at it? Okay. So arrows are a little harder to load, so you can really only take you're an elf. You can probably take 2 shots, but the second one's going to be a lot harder to go off. So go ahead and roll a 1d10.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
What do you
I hear you, Jesse.
Huzzah! All right, that worked.
So let's see. This thing hears your bow, tries to dodge out of the way, and does so successfully.
Wah, wah.
So unfortunately, your arrow misses, and it's your turn again, Riggs. You're the next up in combat.
All right. I am going to take a strong stab at its face.
Its face. Okay. Let me know what you get.
7.
All right. So it is going to try to dodge out of the way. And does not do so successfully. So it's not a critical shot, but you do land this strong strike to the face. So go ahead and
So that's 6 and 6 is 12. Plus 2 is 14. Plus 3 is 17. Plus 2 is 19. Doubled is 48? No, 38.
is that right?
19 doubled?
I'm using my calculator. Christopher, you guys have all taken your shots at this animal. Christopher rolls up and in one fell swoop delivers his silver sword through this enemy, and it ceases to move and falls limp.
Ooh.
Is it dead?
Can I remove his head or something?
You don't remove his head, but as you bury your silver sword in its head, it just completely goes limp. All the legs splay out. It stops moving. It stops writhing. It appears pretty damn dead. So let me make sure. I just want to. I mean, my spreadsheets have been pretty accurate so far, but I just want to make sure, 100% sure that you actually killed this thing. So you did what? 19 weapon damage.
I did 19 total weapon damage with a strong strike, so that would be 38.
I'm pretty damn sure you killed this thing. All right.
On that, I'm gonna rush over to Mr. Beetlejuice and start addressing his wound.
Okay.
I was unclear. So, Clupp, do I have wounds so much as I'm just wiped out?
No, you took actual health damage.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you yes, you take in this case you take actual health damage because you exceeded your ability to cast the spell.
And just for clarification for future, so I don't misread this again. So vigor is not depleted; it's just the threshold that I have for spell casting, correct?
So, vigor is basically like a provisional stamina. So for Madison and Christopher and Jesse, your vigor is how much it acts as provisional stamina. It's how much spell energy you can use before you start to take health damage. And so if you exceed your vigor in one turn, you take health damage, and your vigor recharges every round. So
okay, thank you.
Yeah. So, but it does take stamina damage. So your stamina is not going to recharge unless you take a resting action. So basically, if you use up all of your stamina, you're going to go pass out. So it's not like if you are in a really long battle or never take the chance to rest over the course of a day, you might end up passing out in the midst of battle.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So this enemy is dead. Before you guys can really celebrate, your GM has to pee one more time, and then we'll see what happens now that you've slain this beast. But give yourself some pats on the back. You did it.
Still got it.
You did it.
That's how you do it, Adelina.
My next shot was to try and cut off one of the mandibles, but it's all good.
I like the silver sword right to the face will have that effect on it.
We'll need some proof for the Duke. I'm hunched over on the staff,
Yeah, we will probably need proof that it's dead.
I'll
Get
go
the
cut
money.
off the mandible. You only need one.
Take the whole damn head.
That's too much
Go
for
with
me to care.
What did you say?
I said we could go with the strategy I used before for the last beast and just decapitate it completely.
I'm with the dwarf.
Well, the dwarf's with you.
Heads do much better for claiming bounties.
Yeah, between the head and that letter or the note of guarantee from the Duke, we should be all right. And he's just gonna take a long swig of the mystery liquor in the flask and just slump over.
I like it.
All right.
As if our group would do anything else.
As the monster falls dead, Morolka, who is the only villager that's still kind of close to you, jumps up and shouts in triumph and says, "I knew you guys could do it, you strange band of fellows." And at that moment, you guys hear an interesting noise. It's a noise that some of you guys have heard before. Sounds almost like someone's kind of like emerging from water. If you've ever heard, someone's underwater and they come out, it's got that kind of flashy, indistinct sound. And it's a portal. So about a stone's throw to your right, a portal opens, a void into nothingness, and out of the portal steps a man. He is dressed in almost nobleman's attire, very fancy clothes, but he has on a billowing deep gray cape with a kind of reddish insignia on the back of it. You can see vaguely as it billows around. The man is pretty handsome, also looks kind of indeterminately old. He's got curly gray hair and a well-trimmed salt and pepper beard, and kind of an infectious smile that he wears as he walks up to you. You guys are panting and heaving. Beetlejuice and Iroh are on the ground, but he walks up to you, and he looks at all of you in turn with this just gigantic smile on his face. And he says, "You did it! You did it! You killed it! I can't believe someone actually passed my test." And
Yeah. What?
he's like beaming at you. Well, I mean, oh man, sorry. My name is Garzai. I serve the Duke of Gorsvelen himself, Duke Caspis. I'm sure you all have heard of him. He's a very well-renowned fellow, loved throughout all of Temeria. But my question is, who are you to have killed this beast?
Do
This
you have the
beast that I
reward?
made myself.
Who are you to loose this thing in the woods?
Loose this thing on the woods. I had this beast. Well, this is a great question, actually. This is my house. What is this beast doing here? It was safely caged away in the woods on the other side. I had it kept there quite securely, and here it is.
No, people were dying from these monsters that you put in the woods. This monster you put in the woods.
His smile kind of slackens a little bit, and he goes to stroke his beard. How many people would you say?
Why does it matter?
Two.
Well, every human life lost is a tragedy, he says, but the way he says it, you don't entirely convince him. That's nowhere near the amount of tragedy and horror that you all might be able to prevent. You see, this here monster, this was a test. I put this monster here in these remote woods, far enough away from humankind that hopefully not too many people would stumble across it idly, but close enough that travelers such as yourselves would be compelled to come and kill it. You see, I had clues carefully scattered about. Only those who were up to the task would be able to kill this monster. It's a monster of extraordinary strength. I compiled it myself from multiple genomes curated over many years, and you killed it. You passed the test.
Why are you telling us all this?
Well, if you pass the test, it means that you're my agents now. I need you desperately. Should I say the Duke Caspis of Gorsvelen needs you desperately. We are in dire need of people as capable and as well-versed as all of you.
I'm in need of some more money.
He laughs. He's like, I see the real purpose here was not to save the citizens of Millik, but was for the promised price. Yes, I do have half of the money for you all now. The other half you'll get if you agree to come and meet with the Duke and hear his plight.
I'm going to grab him.
Well, half
What?
of how much?
The
2,000 was the promised price on this monster. Now, the most difficult to slay monsters in this kingdom don't often fetch a price above 1,000 Temerian orans, sometimes 1,500 if we're talking a griffin or a basilisk. We offer 2,000 Temerian Orans for this monster, and 2,000 Temerian Orans you shall get. That is a higher price than almost any monster, as this Witcher here can tell you. But 1,000 you shall receive now, and the rest of this 2,000 you shall receive if you come to hear the Duke's plight.
Just hear it.
Well, I would hope that any man or woman in this continent with a soul will help to agree the Duke, considering not only is his plight one of humanity, I'm sure that he'd be willing to pay you more should you complete his task successfully.
I don't like politics, but to get this money, just hear his plight.
I've always heard that Witchers don't lift a finger without coin, but it seems that that's true to the tenfold. Sir, we're talking about the fate of Temeria here, many innocent lives. You will be paid in money for sure, but the true reward should be helping your fellow man.
You talk a big talk about humanity and helping your fellow man for a bunch of goonies that just release monsters into the woods to kill these innocent people.
For a test.
If my orders had been
That doesn't
followed
seem
correctly,
trustworthy.
no human would have been killed here. Ozlak the Alderman, where is that scoundrel anyway? I gave him very specific instructions on how to avoid any loss of life and how many should be spared. I gave him plenty of coin as compensation. This should have been cut and dry. Where is he?
He did. He did.
Yeah, he
Don't
got
hate him.
What do you mean he's dead? How is he dead? I had him locked in a basement for Melitali's sake.
Yeah, and then the monster got in there and killed him.
So
Why did you have him locked in a basement?
What, you went to the basement and he was locked down there? Did you leave him down there?
You just said you locked him in a basement. We
You're
went
the one that
down.
locked him there.
I locked him there and protected him with magic, and somehow this monster went down and killed him anyway.
Why did you
What
only
happened?
protect him?
He furrows his brow. Listen, I engineered this monster to be terrified of Lapistrays. I went through great deals to acquire the genome of a Berberoka, blend it with that of an arachnomorph. I bred a Lapistray, not an easy feat, mind you, to peacefully inhabit this river, to keep that monster on the other side. I told this alderman, this Ozlak, that all he had to do was keep his villagers out of the other side of the woods. That's it. I paid him a hefty sum. I gave his villagers what they needed, and still, this buffoon managed to let other people die and get himself killed anyway. I went through extraordinary lengths to keep others safe, and somehow those parameters were succeeded. I assume that the Lapistray is dead, otherwise this monster would have never crossed the river.
I don't much care for mages playing with nature.
No.
Well, if you don't much care that, then you should certainly hear Duke Caspus's plight. He only consulted me because he is at wit's end dealing with magic and forces beyond
he's
his
at wit's end dealing with more monsters that you and your kind have released?
Not I, sir. Magic that even I am not able to deal with. Magic of the most ancient and arcane of sorts that I
don't know. You were just bragging about how good you are. I think you can handle it.
he looks at you like he really hates you. Like, magicians of my order, I went to Rissberg Academy of Magic, mind you. I've studied under the great Ortolan himself. And yet this magic exceeds me, I'll admit. Which means that it's going to take many forces combined if we are to address it properly.
Say we agree. Say we receive the Duke. We return to the Duke's audience. What then?
Should you attend the Duke's audience, you shall receive the full 2,000 orans promised for killing this beast. You will hear his plight. And perhaps I do not speak. I speak for the Duke on this matter alone. What he chooses to offer you, and reward you with for successfully completing his mission, is his prerogative entirely. but should you at least sit to hear him, you shall receive your coin and a chance to save a great many lives of Temerian importance.
So Minka is kind of slowly moving around behind him.
Okay. So what say you? Shall you join me? The Duke is at a camp not far from here. I can take you to him. Normally I would teleport you, but I've been observing enough to know that you guys seem averse to teleporting for some reason.
Why the hell would a duke be in some random camp?
So at this point, I am close enough behind him, and I have my stiletto out. And I kind of just go close enough behind him and stand in such a way that my stiletto is there and said, of course you're going to come with us.
So Garzai chuckles a little bit. And then a portal opens up beneath his feet and he disappears and appears behind you, Minka, about 15 feet, and says, "Oh, so you're those kind of adventurers."
We
So
just don't trust you.
What is it? I've explained to you exactly the measures I took to keep these people safe. I will give you your coin now, and you shall receive the rest later. What else is it going to take to trust me? Because if coin and the chance to save innocent lives isn't enough, on the guarantee that I did my best to save innocent lives, you have to understand the task before you will not be easy, but it is important, and thus the test to find the right people to complete said task had to be equally as difficult.
Sounds like a lot of work, a lot of travel for the second half, what was already promised us, I don't know, guys. Maybe we can just go find other monsters elsewhere. Yeah.
There's always Witcher work.
This guy does seem really sketchy.
Yeah.
I just want to
Literally
teleported away.
risk like other lives. That's cruddy.
So that's your decision then. You will not come with me.
But we do want all the gold that was promised us.
Yeah.
No, we'll go with you as far as the camp to get the rest of the gold that's promised us.
Yeah.
We won't be happy about it, and the extra work will not make us want to do more work for you.
We'll hear your proposal, but we're disinclined.
Very well.
Actually, can't you put a little more money in the pot?
I mean, at the Duke's bequest.
Does the Duke know you left a monster to feed on these people?
Excuse me?
Does the Duke know that you left that you are the one who left this monster here?
Well, he kind of smirks a little bit. The Duke set me to make a test befitting of the task before you, as I saw fit, as long as it was of little consequence to the people of his kingdom. Now,
okay. Well, we'll make sure he knows the true function of what you did.
What I did, the alderman is responsible for letting his own citizens wander into the monster's territory. Now, as who killed the Lapistray and led it over here to kill the alderman, I can't speak of. I can only assume that was you. As of such, you have his blood on your hands. That was not me.
We're not the
But
ones...
I'm willing to forgive and forget. Equal lives, equal losses. I will not tell the Duke of these things, and all will be blamed on the alderman for letting his own citizens die and letting his own stupidity lead to his own end of life. This can all be forgotten. It depends on you.
My friend, Mr. Sir Garza, if I might call you this. Your wild accusations against us as to the fate of the alderman are completely unfounded. However, wildly so.
Maralka here has been witness to our entire plight. I think she could a witness from the town itself. She's been begging for our help. She watched us this whole time. We have witnesses, and unless you're saying that you would dispose of any witnesses in order to maintain your innocence.
Walker kind of steps forward. It's true, sir. I saw them slay the beast myself. I'm not sure what was keeping it on the other side of the river. I'm no mage, but the monster came here and killed the alderman, and they killed the monster. That is what I saw. And Garzai kind of strokes his chin. He's like, Seems that we're at an impasse here.
No impasse if you give us more gold.
I've promised you the 2,000 gold as per the contract. Any additional gold upon completion of the mission is per the Duke himself.
So give us 2,000 now, and then we'll go with you.
You thick adventurers, I don't have the full 2,000. I have the 1,000 now. He's like,
Well, you just talked about how he's a short distance away. You can teleport with your portals. We'll wait.
I'd go get him.
We'll be right here.
We don't have anything else to do.
Yeah, and I'm sure that this town would love to give us some ale for the feast that we just did for them.
Yeah, I think we're down for a rager, honestly. We'll be here.
Garzai looks like he wants to kill you all. And based on what you know about mages so he looks like he's probably in his like 50s or 60s. Generally, mages that look old are very wise and very powerful.
Wait, you saying 50s and 60s is old?
For mages, so in the Witcher universe, mages tend to make themselves look younger on purpose. So mages that look above the age of 30 or 40 are typically like actually quite like hundreds and hundreds of years old. So the fact that he looks anywhere above middle ages, well, it's not my fault. Minka doesn't know the universe, but he's so he's probably very powerful, and you've probably pissed him off a little bit. But he rubs his temples and says, "Fine, I will talk to Duke Caspis about getting your gold up front, but you must hear him out."
Yeah, sure, dude.
As long as we get that gold.
Yep.
You'll be in the pub then. Is that what I gather?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, great.
All right. So Garzai steps into a portal and is gone, and you guys are sitting here with the body of this creature before you.
Is there anything of value with the body that we could sell?
You'll have to do a kind of like it's like a monster foraging check, so you can either accomplish that with a Witcher training or
Witcher.
wilderness survival.
Michael, make another
I can roll
armor.
wilderness survival.
The Witcher training might be higher.
So is Jesse just like okay at this point?
I'm down by like, I have to go like rest and recover the HP.
So generally, Michael, your doctor skills can kind of stabilize wounds, and you can identify like blood poisons, like you can do all this stuff, but really the only way to heal HP is over time. Like you can't instantaneously make him like completely okay. You can kind of stabilize him, but he's going to have to rest overnight to recover, especially from magical fatigue. That's definitely something he's going to have to kind of sleep off.
Yeah, but I was just trying to figure out if there was something more that I came to learn about the wounds or whatever, if there was anything I could do, because I do have a lot of herbs and whatnot that I could use. I'm not sure. I'm just trying to figure out what exactly is going on.
It's you know it's magical fatigue. You and Beetlejuice kind of both know it's magical fatigue. And so
It's fine, mate. I'll sleep it off.
Yeah.
I actually rolled a total of 23 for wilderness survival for harvesting something useful from this.
Yep. So this monster, you are able to get some chitin off of it, and so that's you'll be able to get 1d6 units of chitin off of it.
All right, let's roll that. That's 4 units of chitin.
All right, so I think that's 1 weight apiece. So go ahead and add that to your inventory.
Okay, so chitin times 4. Cool.
And you also are able to siphon off some mysterious. I mean, it's mutagenic blood of a creature that's been, made from magic. So you have that going for you.
Mutagenic blood.
Yeah.
Neat.
So that just goes in a vial. Generally, mutagenic blood from monsters is best kept in the hands of witchers, but I mean, as long as you guys are going to be together, you can hold on to it. But Christopher is probably going to want to sit down with that and do some studying of it.
Yes.
Cool. I'm just going to hand that over to him immediately. I'll hang on to the chitin, but I'll hand the vial of blood off to him.
I'm going to grab the remnants of my armor and pick it up and kind of head into.
So not a word about the lobster and the alderman? Yeah. Brilliant. All right. I'm off to the pub too.
Yeah, I think we should all go to the pub.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep,
I'll
that's where
turn to
I'm heading.
Riggs and I'll be like, I know you're probably not too into celebrating, but I think maybe it could be fun.
Is Riggs there? Did Riggs leave?
No, I'm here. I'm talking. Can you hear me?
Now we can.
No, we couldn't hear you until now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm heading to the pub.
I'm going to go find a smith.
So Moralka kind of like shies up to Zoe on the way over and kind of like walks beside her and says, "That was mighty heroic of you, man."
Thanks, buddy. And she kind of pats her on the head and kind of shuffles away.
Oh, Moralka looks down at the ground, thoroughly disappointed, and kind of shuffles back to her own house. She was hoping for a little bit more, but she did not get it.
Oh. You can still party with us.
She should come and have a beer.
Zoe's gonna call out and say, "No, you can come share a pint."
Really? She looks, her face brightens up, and she runs and meets you guys at the entrance of the pub.
Zoe catches her in her arms and carries her over the threshold.
Well, Moralka didn't really jump into her arms, but
Yes, she did.
She did?
Yeah.
All right, I'll let it happen. You guys are kind of battle drunk right now, so you guys are letting it happen, and Moralka is just glad that her village is safe. So the barman's there, and he looks just delighted that he was able to help out in any capacity, and he's already been busying himself getting celebratory drinks because he knew you guys would slay this beast, and he produces a round of ale and distributes it to you all and says, "Congratulations to the conquering heroes of Millik. You guys killed the beast, and we owe you all our lives."
Cheers!
Hey!
Billy, go birds.
Go birds.
What birds would those be, sir? Says Moralka, and she basically just like took hers and drowned it like a shot, and she's already feeling good.
Birds of the best year of my life.
How about some like merry songs from the bard so we can like wait it out to see how long it takes for this guy to show back up again?
There once was a man from that.
Can you guys hear this?
Yes.
Make it sound.
All right. Can I go find
at this moment, Garzai. Okay, make it stop.
You asked for it.
So, Garzai walks into the pub. Not portals in. He walks in. So you guys presume that he probably portaled back to where you are, didn't find you, and then walked to find you. So he looks pissed.
Would be at the pub.
Yeah, but I don't think he actually thought that you'd go there.
He's not a good listener.
So no, I mean he
underestimates us.
He's an arrogant mage. So Zoe stops playing the pan flute where she is, and he holds up a big bag of coin and says, "All right, all 2,000 coin, as promised per contract from the Honorable Duke Caspis of Gorsvelen himself. Now," and he holds it away. from you guys, even though that's kind of a moot point because he could easily just teleport. But he holds it away. He says, "You guys can come with me, or you get no coin at all. I'm tired. I'm tired of your antics."
I'm pretty sure that the only thing was kill the monster for the coin. You're now changing the contract?
All it takes is a ride away. He's just really pissed. If going a ride away is too much work for you after killing a monster, I don't think you deserve this coin. It's 2,000 orens. You know how much taxpayer money it costs to cobble this together for some arrogant layabouts like you?
Taxpayer money that you cost. That you caused to be spent.
Yeah, sure. Well, we'll take the coin and we'll go talk to this dude.
Yeah. You're not going to take us at our.
Well, I thought that 1,000 coins and the chance to save Temeria would be good enough for you, but apparently it's 2,000 coins and the chance to hear about an opportunity to save Temeria is all that will get you to lift your fingers.
Well, you're the one that changed the deal, not us.
He just throws the coin on the table. He's like, "I don't care about you. Come on, let's go. Just take your freaking coin." He doesn't say freaking because that's probably not something they'd say in the Witcher universe. He just says, "Take your coin. I notice you have a horse, Witcher. I assume it's yours. Saddle up and follow me."
Let's take the money and go.
Agreed.
Yep.
See how easy that was?
Are you guys gonna follow him?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, sure. Begrudgingly.
All right. So he leads you out. He looks like he'd rather teleport because he's walking pretty far ahead of you guys and keeps kind of like scratching his staff, but he doesn't because he's observed you guys. He knows you guys don't really teleport around, and magical allergies are pretty common, so he just assumes that you guys are allergic to teleporting. He hasn't actually asked you, but he's smart enough to figure out that's what's going on. So, guys. So, you guys take the west road towards Sedaris, and you guys are walking for maybe 30 minutes before you notice that there's lights and tents about I don't know, a quarter mile off the road in a thicket of woods. At this point, it's pretty much nighttime, and those lights are the first lights you've seen. And so you follow Ozai into this camp.
So we're doing an awareness. We're doing some awareness.
Yeah.
All right, you can roll an awareness check.
Anybody who wants one? Can I roll one too?
Yeah, can anybody roll one, or
Sure.
should we pick who?
I mean, you guys are all approaching at the same time, so unless you communicate, whatever you notice is going to be kept to yourself.
Okay. I got I rolled a 9, so 9 plus 8 is 17, plus 10 is 27.
So, as usual, Christopher, you see all. You notice that the camp is arrayed with almost military precision. There's a ring of trees around the tents, and then they're set up in a clearing, so they provide natural protection. Hidden between the trees and some scrubs are archers. There's even a few archers that have set up and kind of hastily constructed stands in the trees. And there's also easily arrayed soldiers guarding the path into it. So like they're standing there and they're well armed and well armored, and they bear the symbol of Gor's Velen, which the symbol of Gor's Velen is just a blue swallow on a gray field. It's a pretty simple symbol. It doesn't have some of the pomp and circumstance of some of the greater cities. And they move to block your path, but when they see Ozai, they immediately open up and let you through.
I'll pass on, what I noticed.
So in this campsite, there's probably about 5 tents. One you can almost tell immediately it's Gar's eyes because it looks magical. I mean, there's all kinds of whirling gizmos through, like when you look through the tent, you can see whirling gizmos. It's a different color than the rest of them, and it has like a thrum, almost like a throbbing magical energy coming from it. And then there's a couple like other tents that just look pretty standard, and there's a big command tent in the middle, probably 4 times the size. It's blue, the same color as the swallow of Gor's Velen, and it's constructed with care and, again, military precision. And there's 6 armored guards standing outside of this tent. And as you guys approach, they exchange a few words with Garzai. They do it in a lot, like they're speaking Nordling words, but in an order you don't understand, and you kind of realize, especially Adelina as the one who read the note, that they're speaking in the same kind of encrypted language that you came across in that letter. And they part their shields and they let you enter. Inside, the tent is very roomy, but it's pretty sparsely decorated. There's really just a simple bed and a table with what looks like a map of the region arrayed upon it, and a chair that's just simple and wooden, no pomp and circumstance. Sitting in this chair is a man who you assume to be Duke Caspis. He's pretty handsome, but he looks like he hasn't really taken care of himself in a while. He's got untrimmed hair that goes down to his shoulders and a wild beard, and kind of sunken eyes. Looks like he hasn't slept in a while. And he, his clothes are noble. He has, kind of the attire of a nobleman, but it looks like his clothes haven't been washed. They're a little kind of crumpled and dirty. And when he sees you, his sad eyes perk up, and he raises his eyebrows at Garzai, and then looks at the rest of you 7.
Your Grace, thank you for receiving us.
Grace is an awfully generous title for one who has not deserved it, and I certainly feel that I haven't deserved it as of late. So you're the one.
Where's the money, Dukington?
So you start to say something, but Garzai snaps his fingers and your mouth shuts because you'd never talk over a duke.
Yeah, I'm pretty brave, but whatever.
And then he snaps his fingers again, and your mouth can open again. He says, and the duke kind of speaks over you, and he says, "So you're the ones who have passed my test. Interesting indeed."
You mean the test that was killing a bunch of people?
His eyes raise and he looks at Garzai. Excuse me? Killing people?
Oh,
this
yes.
was not brought to my attention. What do you mean killing people?
Oh, your little mage pet here unleashed a monster in the woods near a town nearby.
How many people did it kill, Garzai? Garzai shuffles nervously. He's like, I'm aware of at least 2. At least 2. I'm sorry, Duke Caspis. There was nothing I could do about these. It was the alderman's fault. I gave him very strict instructions on how to keep his people safe and to administer the test correctly, and he failed to uphold these directions, and lives were lost. And the Duke looks back at Garzai, and just his hands fall, and he doesn't look as angry as he looks sad, and he's like, we've lost enough life already in our country. First the war, now the disappearances. Now you let some monster loose. Garzai, I thought better of you. I didn't assume you were going to release a monster as a test. I mean, there's enough elven ruins around here. You couldn't have had them just go in an elven ruin. Garzai looks back and says, well, what impetus would have driven them into an elven ruin? I gave them money, and it seems money is all that drives them. Duke, I'm sorry for failing you, but perhaps these people will fail you too. They seem to care nothing but for money.
No, we don't care for men in power abusing it. Thank you for the money. Have a good day. And I'll kind of turn to leave.
the Duke calls out. He says, "Wait, please don't leave. Please don't leave." And he almost sounds kind of choked up. He says, "First, Garzai, I need you to leave. I need you to leave my sight immediately. You are dismissed from my service until such time you can prove that all lives are valuable to you and not just the lives that I deem valuable." Garzai looks flabbergasted and shoots Riggs a glare so deadly that you're sure you've just made a lifelong enemy. But he bows his head and leaves the tent. "Will you stay, Witcher? Will you stay to hear my task that I ask of you?"
I'll hear you out.
"Thank you. Thank you. As for the rest of you, I am sorry for what you've had to deal with, but whatever task Garzai put before you, it seems that you passed it, and thus you must be at least somewhat adequately vetted. Otherwise, you would not be standing before me. I'm sure whatever test Garzai put before you was of sufficient challenge. And so I ask of you, will you stay to hear what I have to say?"
Lay it on us.
You have an interesting way of addressing a duke, but I haven't felt much of a duke of late, and thus I'll ignore it. And he smirks a little bit. I think he kind of enjoys being treated a little bit just like a human. "I'm not sure exactly where to begin here. During the war, the Nilfgaardian Wars, my city was an anthill. Soldiers pouring in and leaving again. We were building war machines and had endless shipments of steel from Kovir and wood from Skellige. It was chaos. My city was chaos. And in times like those, it can be hard to keep your finger on every pulse and certain things slip by you. I understand as a duke that this should not be the case. But for those of you who have not been in power, and I trust that many of you have not, it can be difficult to keep track of a city when war is upon you. And during the war, during the battles, there were some disappearances. I didn't notice it at first. At first, it was just two young elf girls. And as much as I hate to say it, I didn't think much of it at the time. Elves go missing all the time from the non-human district. Most of the time, they're just conscripted into the Scoia'tael army, or they leave for Dol B'Utana. Disappearances happen all the time, and so I thought nothing of it. But soon, those two elf girls became 6. Some of those were humans, and soon those 6 became 13, and then 18, and then 25, and I could ignore it no longer. These reports were troubling, all of them young girls disappearing. I began to fear for my own daughter's safety. My daughter, Camilla, she was 6. I had her placed in a tower under the highest magical protection I could think of. Garzai himself put her there. I had another mage come in, an independent mage that I hired from Aretuza, place magical protection. She was under the best care possible. And yet one day, as the disappearance count reached 57 young girls missing, one day I came to wake and find that my own Camilla had been missing. It shouldn't have been possible. The best mages in the entire country had been protecting her, and somehow she was gone. At this point, there have been 121 young girls abducted from my city. Even more troubling, I've heard talk from the Duke Ethane of Sidaris that young girls have been disappearing from his city as well. Now, this might not seem like much, but these are lives. And what happens when children are abducted is families collapse. Men stop working, mothers despair, and I have families upon families asking me for recourse that I cannot give them. And so I must locate these girls. But it's very clear that whatever is happening to them is beyond my means. No human should have been able to break the magical protection that was around my daughter. And thus it tells me that there's something afoot here. There's no monster. I've consulted mages. I've even brought in a witcher, and he kind of looks at Riggs. I've brought in a witcher to consult. No monstrous being could have broken that magic. And so it had to have been human. But no human should have done it. No human could have done it alone without help of something else. And thus, I believe there's something evil afoot, something evil stealing the girls, these young girls of Temeria and these young girls of Sedaris. And I feel helpless to stop it. And he kind of looks down at his hands and he kind of appears verklempt for a second.
How much?
How much? He looks at Riggs. How much? How much to save innocent lives?
If
To
Witchers
stop the
work for
disappearance?
free, are you don't want us around. Nobody wants us around. So why should I care about the people who will spit on me one day and attempt and kick me out of their town for being the boogeyman the next? How much?
May I remind you that this behavior is why Witchers are reviled in the first place. The chance to improve your reputation, the chance to save innocent lives, and you ask, how much? Sir, I will give you coin as compensation for the task that lies before you, for even me and my men could not complete it. You will be paid. But I ask you, the first words out of your mouth are how much, how disgusted you must be with yourself. And if not, I understand why witches are reviled. For if you have not a heart to help the innocent of my country and the innocent of the world, you deserve no place on this continent.
Big words from a man who unleashed a monster on a town.
I will think of some way to punish Garzai for his transgressions. What he has done, there is no excuse. Mages often operate outside the confines of mundane men. I tried my best to control him. I gave him very strict guidelines, and he worked around those guidelines, and for that he shall be punished. But in the meantime, there are hundreds of lives at stake here, many hundreds of lives, and I will do my best to seek vengeance for those that are lost, on both sides, here in Millik and elsewhere. But that will not change your attitude towards this quest, sir.
Saying we do take this, where would we begin?
He kind of looks up Hope. So you're saying you'll consider it. You may be the agents I've been looking for.
Perhaps.
Very well.
How much would help?
So, the situation is as this. You will be paid, Witcher. I was planning on paying you anyway. I was just hoping that you would be a little bit more, say, empathetic to the plight of these hundreds of missing young innocent souls. Seeing as you're not, perhaps I'll have to up the pot a little bit. Let me explain what is in front of you. I will give you a price. You will tell me if it's fair. Does that sound fair enough to you, Witcher, and kind?
Fair enough to me.
As for the rest of you,
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
the only way anyone or anything could have snuck past so many of my own servants and my castle's armed guards and myself is using powerful magic concealment. And to break my spells, this perpetrator must have had access to even more powerful spell-breaking magic. If this person had cast spells, I or Garzai would have felt the wave of energy. I'm not much in tune to magic myself, but Garzai is. I hired the additional mage I hired as well, Martin of Vengerberg. Perhaps he would have felt something as well, but no one felt any such energy. This can only mean one thing. The spell had already been cast and trapped within a magical artifact. The thief or perpetrator must have used this magical artifact with a spell already cast to bypass my security and steal my Camilla. Here's where things get a little difficult. My city of Gorsvelen harbors the highest concentration of magical artifacts in the entire continent. We're situated a mile from Thaned, where many of the most powerful mages on the continent dwell. And Aretuza, the School of Magic, is there as well. We're a central port in Temeria. We're an access point to nearly the entire continent. Almost anything can flow through my ports. With such proximity to magic, magical artifacts flow highest of all. Now, it used to be that almost no magic was illegal, but that changed several years ago once the Holy Fire began spreading influence throughout my city. Now, trading of magical artifacts has been moved underground, a black market for magic. Garzai came up with a handy little name for this black market called the Arcanium. Almost nothing is known about the Arcanium other than that it exists. No one knows who leads it. No one knows where it's located or how to access it. My soldiers have never managed to capture a single Arcanium operative or dealer, nor find any magic storage area. I thought that my men were covert enough to carry out this task. Trust me, I would not be licensing out this dangerous thing to any but my top men. But my top men were ineffective. I think I have a man on the inside. It only makes sense. Magical artifacts are one thing, but true knowledge of my castle, the guards' timings, there had to be a man on the inside, informing of everything, allowing the perpetrator to come and steal my daughter. Couple this with magic artifacts, and it makes this impossible task possible. And so my guards are compromised. My men are compromised. There's black market magic perpetrating my city, and some of that has been used to steal my daughter, and I imagine many of the other young women that have disappeared throughout my city and throughout the continent at large. I had Garzai design a test that would assess many skills: combat, stealth, sharpness of mind. Unfortunately, it seems that some of these parameters he took a little too loosely, and it ended with loss of life. As I promise, which will be punished. And he looks at Riggs and he nods. But this small group, this covert group, may be able to infiltrate the Arcanium, learn who my inside man is, and learn where these magical artifacts are coming from, stop the flow, and find more information on these disappearances. Because I need my daughter back. Without her, I'm nothing. Without these young women, many families are nothing. I can't be selfish and say that I'm the only one suffering, but without a small covert team, I fear that we'll never find how these crimes have been perpetrated and how we can stop them. So what say you? Will you help me in this task?
I'm in. Sounds like we're moving to Gorsvellen.
Don't really have anything else to do. I mean, you might as well.
What say you, Witcher? You seemed most opposed to this at the start.
I'll help.
He grins because you offered to help without naming a price, and he thinks that means that you might have a heart of something buried under there. What about you, elves? I can't guarantee you fair treatment in my city. I can't control all the citizens, but I promise that you will be fairly and equally treated in my castle and fairly and equally recompensed for your actions. What say you?
I'm in.
Sounds good to me.
Duke Caspus breathes in easily and slumps in his chair, like this is the best news as he's heard for a while. To pass my first test, I promised one pot of 2,000 coins. If you complete this task and manage to find any information on the Arcanium, but more than that, stop the flow of these magical artifacts, just for that alone, for infiltrating the Arcanium, I'll give you each 2,000 coins.
Wow.
He smiles.
I'll
He says,
take that.
sometimes being a duke has its advantages.
Duke, I have one request.
Name it. Any request.
I would like to be there when you punish Garzar.
Caspis smirks a little bit. Very well. I'm sure at this point he's holed up in his tent. In the morning, I will punish him with whatever means I have necessary. Most likely, these will be nothing to him as he is a mage, but perhaps you have the look of a mage. Perhaps you can think of something that will suitably fit his transgressions.
Yes.
So, we have it then. You will help me infiltrate the Arcanium, stop the flow of black magic artifacts, and find the perpetrators, or at least help me find the perpetrators that kidnapped my daughter and over 100 other young women throughout Gorsvelen and the continent. And so it is decided. All right. You guys have decided to help Duke Caspis and undertake his mission to infiltrate the Arcanium, and thus you have completed the Monster of Millik. Congratulations, guys. All right. So let me do a little quick recap, just very brief. I want to kind of clue you in on some things you missed, just because it's kind of fun, and then I'll ask for some feedback, and then we'll start chapter 2. Chapter 2 is called Temerian Nights, and Temerian Nights. Yes, that's the joke. So you guys could have completely avoided the combat with the bandits, as I'm sure you guys have, and you guys could have, if you had done that, you would have convinced them to join in the battle. If you guys, I wasn't really expecting you to kill the Lapistray right away. I was kind of expecting you guys to keep it alive. You would have corralled the monster between the river and the forest, and probably would have killed it before you would have killed it before it even entered the village and killed anyone else. And I mean, I'm kind of glad you seduced Moralka, because that was fun. That was just a nice little piece of window dressing that I put in there that you guys took advantage of. So yeah, you guys did a really good job with that. You managed to damage the monster with the fire. And because you had scared it with the Lapistray, what happened is Michael was wearing the armor. Jesse had kind of covered his hands and some of his other being. He put the crayfish in his pocket, so he had pheromones and other chemicals and juices from a crustacean all over himself. And so basically, as you guys were walking through the woods, also Adelina, you helped Michael cut the armor, or cut the Lapistray up, and so you were kind of covered in juice as well. And so this monster, you didn't know this. You could have set the trap to observe it, but you guys decided to charge into the woods at nighttime, which is probably not the best idea, but you did it anyway. You guys were basically covered in crustacean juices and pheromones, and this monster couldn't really see as much as it could feel vibrations and sense pheromones, and so to it basically sensed like 2 to 3 Lapistray coming through the woods at it, and ran away across the river where there was no more Lapistray. So you guys did scare it, but you scared it so effectively and killed the Lapistray that you scared it right back towards the village. So, live and learn. But yeah, you guys, I had a lot of fun with that. You guys did a good job. You did a lot of things that I wasn't expecting. So now I'd like to hear from you. What did you like? What didn't you like? What would you have done differently? What do you want more of? What do you want less of? I'll take it all. That's the whole point of this, was to kind of do a survey of everything. And
I think maybe more like inner character interaction.
Okay. Now, to be fair, that is more up to you. There's
sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But I don't know, maybe encouraging it more.
Okay.
I thought the fighting was way more streamlined this time. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I agree. I liked it better this time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the beginning of the campaign as a whole was done really well. I think you made the right adjustments when you need to, and where we are now, I think, is a good point to head.
Anything else? Do you want more NPCs, fewer NPCs? Do you want more like environmental descriptions, anything like that?
I really liked the NPCs. Morocco was probably, the fave. Or
Shame.
Deer Dick, whatever his name is.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the NPCs as well. Gives us more opportunity to use outside skills like gambling and seduction and whatnot to try to get more information and stuff for our next mission rather than just jumping from combat to combat.
Also, just uploaded a quick picture. That is what the Monster of Millik looks like.
Ew, I don't like it.
Cool.
Yum.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
So, real quick, before we head off, I collected all of my remnants of armor. Am I going to be able to find a smith or something to form more formal armor, or am I kind of screwed?
well,
Oh.
what? I'm being yelled at for burping. I'm sorry. You have a smith with you. You have to find. She has some portable crafting tools, but you don't really have any knowledge of how to transform lobster chitin into armor. So that is some skill that you're going to have to seek out.
Gotcha.
But
I can. No, I'll help out, dude. Like we can figure something out. Like I need to read up more on how crafting stuff works because it's sort of complicated.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, how crafting or doing alchemy almost always works is you have to, let's say you're trying to make an armor set. You have to have the schematics for that armor set, and you have to have the ingredients. And so basically, you can envision the best piece of armor in the world, but if you don't know how the schematics and the blueprints to actually craft it, even if you have all the ingredients, it's useless. Or you can have the blueprints and know how to craft it, but if you don't have the ingredients, then you're screwed. So usually what can happen is if you have the blueprints, you can go into a city and spend a certain amount of money buying the ingredients up from the various people and then build it yourself, but you have to actually have the blueprints to do so. And so you have some lapistray carcass that it's going to take some specialty, probably schematics and blueprints to turn that into anything usable. Fair enough.
Are there any improvement points for this session?
Yes. For completing this, you guys all earn 2 improvement points.
Yay! Ooh. I'm so excited about the improvement all the time.
Yeah, you guys none of you have spent any yet, so you definitely have some in the bank. So you guys are all in Duke Caspus's camp. But next week you guys will head off to the city of Gorsvelen to try to infiltrate the Arcanium.
Exciting.
This is where the game really starts to open up. So I appreciate your input. I appreciate your involvement thus far. It's been a lot of fun, guys.
Yeah, thank you for tonight.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye. And thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. We finished the Monster of Millik. I had toyed around with maybe playing some Dark Souls tonight, but it's getting a little late. So we'll definitely be here tomorrow. It's a Friday night, extra long stream, so stay tuned for that. Yeah, if you missed any of tonight, the VOD will be up tomorrow morning at 8 on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/superfly310, and that's in the chat right now. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I'm excited to see where this goes. Have a good night.